smart speaker.
Play WHPC.
And available on Odyssey, TuneIn, iHeart, and on the WHPC app.
90.3 WHPC.
.3 WHPC, the voice of Nassau Community College. Welcome to another edition of From the Press Box. I am Rob Leonard. Joining me, of course, is Tim Leonard, my brother and award-winning sports writer. Remembering Irene Cara, who passed away over the weekend at the age of 63. This is the full-length version of the song Fame. I like the single version better.
Very sad news, brother.
It was sad. I liked Irene Cara.
Liked her a lot.
I didn't like the end of Fame, though. When it tells her to suck her thumb. And,
Nobody liked the end of Fame.
yeah,
It was gratuitous.
it was a little gratuitous.
But I like this. I like the song. In fact, I'll tell you a little story, brother.
What's that?
A little Irene Cara story.
Uh-oh.
There is a song in the movie Fame that Irene Cara sings called "Out Here on My Own."
Love that song.
Great song. And one of those internet rabbit holes one day,
Uh-oh.
and found that song on YouTube.
Sure.
And commented on it and just said, I'm something to the effect of, I'm sure Irene Cara is never going to see this, but wow, what a great song this is, and I thought she did such a fantastic job with it, et cetera, et cetera. 2 days later, I get a notification. Irene Cara responded to the comment,
Wow.
said, "Thank you very much, I appreciate it."
Wow.
And I'm like, you got to be kidding me! Like, Irene Cara's got nothing better to do than you respond to my YouTube comment.
I don't know.
But I was like, I was very happy that she responded and that she knew how much the song meant to me and that how much I enjoyed it. So it was a moment.
I remember seeing this movie in the theaters, and it was back when Times Square in New York City had a little bit more of a grittier edge than what's happened to it, which is
Edgier, for sure.
edgier. And when they were in the subway and the girl was going to kill herself, then she decides not to, and just the whole New York City thing of Times Square and that whole thing was
Right.
It was just it was a great little
And the movie
thing
had
there.
young Richard Belzer in it.
Yes,
Now
yeah.
Richard Belzer's like, 70 or something?
He's more than
Probably
that.
older.
He's older than that. But yeah, so that's the full length version, and the soundtrack's very good. And actually, the version of Out Here on Our Own, there is a version with a string orchestra. It sounds fantastic. That was only
better.
released as the B-side of the promo single.
Even better.
So anyway, but speaking of fame, Mike White this week steps up to the plate, so to speak, and he is all of a sudden the most famous guy in New York for at least this week, because he did something that Zach Wilson has not been doing. First of all,
well.
he played well. Second of all, his teammates seem excited for him, which they have not been doing for Zach. And I think that's very important.
Reasons for that, brother.
Yes, I agree. So
And these are reasons that not only go into deciding who the starting quarterback will be for the Jets this week, but it could be going forward.
it could be.
Robert Saleh, the Jets coach, has said he wants to get Zach Wilson back in the starting lineup. And I don't blame him. Zach Wilson is supposed to be your future. He's the guy you spent that number 2 overall pick on. He is supposed to be the guy for the next decade for the Jets. But 2 things. Number 1, I saw it yesterday coming from a mile away.
Yeah.
Because what would be the most Jet thing that could happen yesterday? Mike White would be phenomenal.
Of course.
And you have a quarterback controversy.
Yep.
So, of course,
Haven't
what
had one-
happens?
haven't
Here's
had
Mike
one-
White
haven't had
throwing
one
the
in a while.
ball, flinging the pill around. Here you go. Here you go, Garrett Wilson. Here you go, Elijah Moore. Here you go. Hey, boys, everybody gets a pass. Come on, let's go.
Yep.
Mike White throws for 315 yards and 3 touchdowns. The Jets destroy the Chicago Bears 31-10.
Now, mind you, the Bears aren't at the top right now.
Bears
There's a lot of
aren't good.
injuries.
Bears had their backup quarterback playing,
right.
Trevor Siemian.
But still, 31-10 is very good.
When you get Rob Tuck
Rob Tuck?
talking about
Oh, Rob Tuck. Okay.
talking about
He's our friend, by the way.
what a pleasure it was to watch the Jets.
Haven't heard Bob say
How
that in
many
about 10
times
years.
has he said that in the last decade?
Never.
Like once.
Bob,
That's-
want to go to a Jets game? No.
That's how you know the Jets were a wrecking machine yesterday.
Yes.
Now, here is the issue with Zach Wilson. And this could be an issue going forward. And it goes back to last week when Zach Wilson was dreadful against the Patriots. He was, and I'm just going by memory here, but my memory is telling me 9 for 21 for 77 yards. And then he proceeded to make excuses after the game. It was windy. Well, you know what? Mac Jones was something like 23 for 28 in the same wind. And then, I don't know who asked the question, but it wasn't a bad question to ask. Zach, do you feel like you let down the defense today? Because the defense let up 3 points.
Right.
And then a punt return at the end of the game gave the Patriots the win. So here's the Jets offense scoring 3 points, and the defense gives up 3, and it just wound up with a loss. And do you feel like you let down the defense? And he says, no.
You see, that's the wrong answer.
That
Zach.
is the wrong answer. And I guarantee you that Zach Wilson lost friends in that locker room with that answer. And especially when defensive players saw that answer, and a lot of offensive players too, because Garrett Wilson, after the game, the wide receiver, went off after that game. And a lot of players were not happy with the way the offense ran. There was a lot of blame being thrown. Garrett Wilson yesterday said he wished he could have taken a lot of stuff back from last week. But I'll tell you what, yesterday was miles better than last week.
Sure.
And again, yes, it was a lesser team, but Mike White had the best game by a Jets quarterback since maybe the last time Mike White started. And we all remember what happened in that game where Mike White again threw for 300 yards. Or actually, I shouldn't say the last time he started, because then he started again the next week after that and got hurt almost immediately.
Almost.
So, but Mike White has all kinds of crazy records. I don't even know if I want to get into them. But yesterday he got into an early groove. He spread the ball around like you want a quarterback to, and basically played one of the best games by a Jets quarterback in probably a decade. So, yeah, he gets another chance. If I'm Robert Saleh, it's not even a question. How do you say, yeah, let's bring Zach Wilson back?
You can't.
After this guy just had a great game. Did everything you want from a quarterback. Everything you want from a leader, and everything you want from a guy who all he just kept doing was piling on points. Jets were trailing 10-7. They got the touchdown for Garrett Wilson that he broke a tackle with 54 yards. Well, then after that, Elijah Moore, then Ty Johnson. All of a sudden it's 31-10. Jets are whooping up on the Bears.
Yeah, well.
And yeah, the Bears are there to be whooped up on, but you still have to do it. So, what I'm sure Salah probably wanted it to be a one-game thing. And he wanted to be able to say, all right.
How do you have a one-game thing, especially if you win the way they do?
But that's
let's
put it. If they lose, then you can say, all right, Zach's our guy.
Yeah.
And we're going with him. But Mike White played such a good game. There's no way. It's not. I don't even ask the question if I'm covering the Jets. Who's starting next week? I let somebody else ask that dumb question.
Yeah.
Because the answer is going to be, well, obviously Mike is starting.
Right. He has to.
Of course.
He has to.
And that's the point. But here's the two things. That, number one, how is Zach Wilson going to get the room back? And can he get the room back? There are a lot of his team. I have to assume this. I've been in enough locker rooms. There are enough of his teammates who are looking at him right now and saying, who does this entitled so-and-so think he is?
This is what you do.
Zach Wilson comes from money. That's part of it.
Yeah, that's part of it. This is what you do if you're Zach Wilson. You grab guys 5 at a time. Your front line, your wide receivers, your running backs. Each one of them. Don't go to each person. You go group of 5 or so, and you say, "Hey, man, I screwed up last week. It was my fault. Let's move on."
But it's done.
I know
a lot
that.
of guys
I know
aren't
that.
going to forgive him.
I know that, but at least he's trying to win them back. Because if he doesn't do that, or he could go to a member of one of the Jets beat writers and say, "Hey, let me give you something. I'm sorry. It was totally stupid what I said," and you got to do it by Tuesday, by tomorrow. So he has to do it today.
Well,
so that's what I would do if I'm him. I grab your players, and you can't have the whole room at once because no one's going to listen. But if you have them 5 at a time,
you can do the whole room at once.
Yeah.
That might make a bigger statement if you get up in the middle of the room and say, "Look, fellas,
I don't know about that.
Look, fellas, I messed up bad, and
Right.
I want everybody in this room to hear me say it. That I know I messed up, and I got some making up to do here, and the first part of that is going to be, number one, I'm going to be accountable, and number two, I'm going to be better."
He better be.
Because you know what? Players don't care so much about you saying, "I'm sorry." Play better. If you're better, a lot of stuff gets forgiven.
That's true.
Jim McMahon in his career was a jerk. But you know what? He was good.
He was.
So nobody cared.
No.
Nobody cared that he was a flake. Nobody cared about any of it. He was good. Aaron Rodgers right now, jerk. Been a jerk for a lot of years.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. MVP awards.
Yep.
Leading the Packers to Super Bowls, playoffs.
Yeah, well,
He's good.
Ben Roethlisberger.
It matters. Ben Roethlisberger.
King jerk.
There's a lot of jerk going on there.
Yeah.
Ben Roethlisberger, but he won.
Yeah.
So, but that wasn't teammate stuff. That was like he probably should have been arrested and stuff.
Well,
but,
yeah. Well, when you're the quarterback of the Steelers and you're in Pittsburgh, you get away with a lot.
Well, sadly, yes.
But
that is, Zach Wilson needs to not be so aloof and remember that while he is a leader on this team, the team does not revolve around him.
Right.
Because if he thinks that, his NFL career is not going to be a long one.
Well, you know what I'm reminded of again? It's the shadow of Joe Namath. When Joe Namath came to the Jets, everyone thought he's Broadway Joe, and, big contract, and he had to win over his players, and he did. He was very
back
fair.
then it was easier to win people over.
Yeah, but there was also some,
And Joe had way more money than everybody else.
there was also
Although
some
Zach Wilson probably does too.
some civil rights things going on there too, and he embraced everyone. And
Yeah, but that was Joe growing up. I mean,
yeah, I
growing
know,
up,
I know
Joe-
that, but
Joe
no
had-
one knew that. No one knew that because everyone saw the contract. They said, "Oh, he must be now
and the
super
fur
rich."
coats and
Yeah, and the fur coats came later on. But when he first arrived, and he wasn't great when he first arrived. He was screwed up. They finally said, "Hey, start doing it right."
I got news for you, brother. There was, besides a year or two, Joe really wasn't that
I know
great.
that. I know that.
Joe's got more mileage out of one game than
As well he
almost,
should.
almost anybody in history.
It
And
was-
good for him. Good for him.
it was-
He deserves it.
Timmy-
he was an
Timmy-
icon in so many ways.
He deserves it because that was the game.
It was the game.
If it was Super Bowl IV after the AFL team had won, no one cares.
Nobody cares.
So
But it was how brash he was
Of
about
course.
it, about the fact that they were a 17-point underdog and managed to win the game. But none of this applies to Zach Wilson.
it does to an extent because it's the same thing. Joe had to win over his team, which he did. Zach Wilson has not won over his team. He's not passing the ball to the right people.
Eh,
The
problem is he's not
good.
good enough right now, and I don't know if he's ever going.
Yeah, but when
Zach Wilson came into the league with the big arm, and they said, "All right, we got to control this kid. We got to get him to play the
And
right
they're not
way."
using the big arm.
Well, they're not using the big arm at all, and he's not so good with the short passes.
No.
As we saw last week, he was 5 for 16 when he wasn't pressured. 5 for 16 is dreadful.
Yeah, I know.
Especially for an NFL quarterback. You got the job because you're supposed to throw accurately. He missed 11 of 16 passes where he was not pressured. That's ridiculous. So, but like I said, yesterday, Mike White got in the groove, spread the ball. Despite the rain, it was pouring yesterday at MetLife Stadium.
But did it affect his throwing? No.
No, 22 for 28. 10 different receivers got passes. Elijah Moore caught a touchdown. Don't want no trade now.
No.
Elijah Moore's got a smile on his face today.
He's very happy.
Love being a Jet.
Jets.
He's getting to the complex early today. He's swiping his key card, got a big smile on his face. Hey, Coach, what's up? Good to see you. I'm going to go work out.
Let me run up the stairs with you.
You know, that's what's going on. The Jets are now, they moved up a spot because the Patriots apparently lost. Good. But the Jets are 7-4. Bills and Dolphins are tied for first. That's 8-3. The East, both East in the AFC East and the NFC East. Those are the two best divisions of football.
Hard to believe.
Not really hard to believe.
Well, last year they weren't.
It goes in cycles.
Yeah, but then all of a sudden it's like, the Giants last year almost made the playoffs, and they were like 8-7 at the time.
No, I don't even think they were that good.
Yeah, well, they were
7-8.
Maybe 7-8, but
7-9.
Either way, brother. Well, they went 7-on, but there was a time when they were almost, if they'd won the last two games. But, brother, this is a major change because now the Cowboys are playing good, the Eagles are playing good, even the Commanders are playing good.
Commanders are 7-5, I think.
Yeah, so I mean,
they're like a game behind the Giants. So
yeah, they have to play them 2 more times.
Yeah.
How do the schedulers do that, by the way?
The schedule makers are a mess.
How do you have
I don't even
them playing twice within like 3 weeks?
Yeah, I don't even pay attention to it.
Yeah,
I'm one of those people that really does. Hey, you got to play the one in front of you. I don't really look at it. Next 4 games for the Giants. It's Commanders this week, then Eagles, then at Commanders, and at Vikings.
Right.
It's a rough stretch. The rough stretch started with Dallas on Thanksgiving Day.
Before we go on to the Giants, anything else you want to say about the Jets?
Who the Jets? The Jets have the Vikings this week. The Jets have some tough games coming up too.
Yeah.
The Jets have the Vikings. Like I said, Mike White's starting that game. Then we're going to see what Mike White is about. And we also have to see, like I said, last time we were in this situation when Mike White got to start, he wound up getting hurt, and then the Jets were totally screwed.
Yeah.
So this is where we are. And are we going to see a repeat with Mike White? Is he going to get through a game healthy? Then he's also got to play against the Vikings, who are a massive step up from the Chicago Bears.
Right.
So let's see. I mean, if Mike White beats the Vikings, then I would say there is legitimate concern about Zach Wilson's Jets career, because he's either going to have to really show something in practice, because you can't get in the way of a march to the playoffs. And if Mike White shows that he can quarterback this team and he can put up 25 points a game, and he can not only lead but manage, not throw interceptions, not make bad passes, and just get the job done, well, then Zach Wilson's not going to play the rest of the season. Nor should he. You can't turn the Jets' first march to the playoffs in I don't even know how many years, but a lot. You can't turn that into Zach Wilson's tutorials, because you need to make the playoffs. This is a franchise that desperately needs to make the playoffs.
Yeah, they do.
They haven't done it in a long time. So you can't sit here and say, well, we need to develop Zach Wilson because he's our future. You know what? Those plans change on the fly. If Zach Wilson's not getting it done, but your team is 7-4, and you have hopes of making the playoffs, then Zach Wilson's development can either wait or get swept away, and he can go develop somewhere else.
Well, I think at this point he was not going to develop, so.
I don't know.
Unless,
I had more confidence in Zach Wilson than I had in
unless-
Daniel Jones, but right now they might be in the same place.
Unless, Tim, they say, you know what, we're going to let you pass the ball really deep, and we're not going to go 5 yards at a time.
But that might not be the issue.
I think it is.
You
I
know,
think that's part of it.
It's more a matter of how you manage the game, how you move the ball around. I don't know if Zach Wilson is trying to pass the ball too much to one person. I don't know, because they seem like they called. I can't even say they called more passing plays from Mike White, because he threw 28 passes. It wasn't that many passes, but what kind of passes is the key.
Right.
You know, is Mike White throwing mid-range? Like, is he throwing 15, 20-yard passes? Whereas Zach Wilson, they don't trust him to throw those passes in traffic, and he's mostly throwing checkdowns to running backs and quick slants to wide receivers. That has a lot to do with it. Like I said, Garrett Wilson broke a tackle yesterday, went 54 yards. That pass legitimately could have also gone for 12 yards. If he doesn't break that tackle, that's what it is.
Right.
So, there's good fortune involved as well, but quarterbacks can create good fortune depending on where they throw the ball. If you put the ball in stride with a wide receiver, and he catches it in stride, and he doesn't have to reach back, or he doesn't have to make any awkward movements, he can break a tackle and go. That's the point.
Yep.
So that's what I'm not sure of as far as Zach Wilson and his future. And we'll wind up seeing. I mean, like I said, I think Mike White is on a short leash in terms of what it is. But right now, the Jets quarterback situation clearly is a week by week decision. I don't know that if Mike White has another big game this week against the Vikings, then I think maybe he buys a little gravitas. Whereas I don't even know who the Jets play 3 weeks from now, but whoever it is. If White has a mediocre game, is Saleh going to say, all right, we're going back to Zach Wilson, or is he going to say, hey, you know what, he played okay. We're not going to go. We got games to win. We're going to leave him in there and see what he can do. Mm. So I think that's where we are. I think that if White doesn't play well against the Vikings, and by doesn't play well, I mean he throws interceptions. He doesn't look comfortable. He didn't really get hurried yesterday. No. It's easy to play quarterback when you're not hurried.
Well, yeah, of course.
But when you're playing against good teams, you're going to get hurried. You're going to get hit. It's going to be a tougher day at the office. So how Mike White handles that and what he does to alleviate that pressure, is he going to go 3-step drop and throw quick hitters and let his receivers do more work? That's a possibility. But I'll tell you what, Zach Wilson, who has made throwing for 200 yards look like a monumental task. Meanwhile, Mike White yesterday made 315 yards look pretty damn easy.
Yeah. Well, we should say next Sunday, Jets at Minnesota, the Washington Commanders at New York. Both games, again, schedulers of the NFL. Both games are at 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Not good. Don't they realize that there are some people who watch both games in New York?
A lot of people watch both games.
Especially if you're in the bar. If you're watching in the bar, it's almost, oh, look, the Giants are on. Let me stay around for another 3 hours. I need my excuse to stay another 3 hours.
Yes, exactly.
So anyway, quickly, let's talk about the Giants. They played against the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. They lost 28-20, but it wasn't a close game.
The Giants did not give me anything to give thanks for, brother.
No, there wasn't. Saquon Barkley was held to 39 yards.
There's reason for that. I mean, the Giants' O-line is they're decimated right now. They got three starters out with injuries. The Giants now have lost 3 out of 4.
Right.
This is a team that, when they were 6-1, we thought had a shot at winning the division.
I thought so. They
were the top rated wild card. It's not going well. And like I said a few minutes ago, the schedule, this 5-game stretch, Cowboys, Commanders, Eagles, Commanders, Vikings, it could be an 0-5 stretch.
It could.
I mean, the Commanders are no pushover. That's a team that has a really good pass rush. Right now, as we saw and we've been seeing for the last couple of games, The Giants' O-line is a mess. So if the Commanders can pressure Daniel Jones, we know Daniel Jones has a propensity for fumbles. It could be a couple tough games. And the Eagles obviously are excuse the pun, but flying high.
10-1, brother.
And the Vikings are 8-2 or whatever. I mean, they're good.
They're good. They're 9-2.
They're legitimately a good team.
Yes, they are. So
they got crushed by the Cowboys a couple of weeks ago, but legitimately a good team, the Vikings.
Cowboys are 8-3. So if the Giants had won, they'd be tied. Well, no, let's see. No, 8-4.
I mean, the Giants are regressing. Part of the reason why the Giants are regressing, and this doesn't surprise me, is because they don't have depth. And this was something that the GM Joe Shane said before the season. They could not sign free agents because Gettleman left them in such a bad salary cap situation that the Giants were, hey, look, we're not going to be able to sign anybody. So it's going to be, we're going to have to coach people up. We're going to have to see if we can find a couple of bargains at the end of free agency, looking for some guys who are looking to sign deals. And, that's how we're going to bring in some new bodies. But they weren't able to go out and, spend $50 million on somebody, especially a lineman or, so that from that aspect, now that they have injuries, and especially a group of injuries on the offensive line, there's nothing there. So you're going with late round draft picks. You're going with guys who couldn't hang on with other teams. You try to develop what you have, but that's not an easy thing to do, and especially midway through the season when all of a sudden now it's like you got 2/5 of your line is healthy. It's a bad situation.
Also, Giants start out really good, and then now they've lost 3 out of 4. They could lose. Who knows? Maybe, as you said, next 5. So there's a lot going on here for the Giants, and I thought they might win the division, but then the Eagles come along and boom, boom, boom. So
I'll tell you what. I mean, if the Giants after 15 games are 9-6, I'd be happy.
Yeah,
because it's a tough stretch.
Yeah. But they're the NFC East, except for the AFC East, is the only division that everyone's over 500.
Right.
So
that's why I said the AFC East and the NFC East are the 2 best divisions of football.
Get this, brother.
What?
NFC South.
It's awful.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers lead the division at 5-6.
Yeah.
Atlanta Falcons are 5-7.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
It's dreadful.
Horrible.
Dreadful. Brady choked away another game yesterday.
He's got probably a lot of things.
They lost to the Cleveland Browns yesterday in overtime. You got to be kidding. It's disgraceful.
I think that maybe he retires this year. Yeah.
No. Well, I mean, unless he tries to go to a different place. I don't know who would want to sign a 46-year-old quarterback. I'll tell you what. The game of the day for me yesterday, Chargers. Chargers. With about, I don't even know, it was like 15 seconds left in the game yesterday, scored a touchdown and went for the 2 and banged it in.
That's what you do.
Unbelievable. That was strong.
Yeah, we're going to take a break right now. You're listening to 90.3 WHBC from the press box on your radio or your listening device at nccradio.org, the iHeartRadio app, tunein.com, Odyssey.com. Of course, like everyone else, we have the WHPC app. And don't forget to ask Alexa to play WHPC. 516-572-7440. We'd love to hear from you.
Okay. Yo.
Tell your friends about the Nassau Morning Madhouse. Hear what you're missing.
Check it out.
Spain, men are upset that women get 2 days off for menstrual time. So men are like, oh, well, I want time off too. We said, well, why don't you guys know what it's like to deal with pain for literally those 2 quote-unquote days?
Any last words?
I'm sorry.
You're sorry?
I don't know why, but I'm sorry.
So tell me how you feel.
I feel a tiny bit of tingling.
Here comes 6.
Oh, this feels like I'm good massage. Ow! Ow!
That's where Eleanor said she felt her pain.
It feels like I'm being stabbed in my spine.
Exactly.
Yep, exactly.
It feels like someone just punched your spine.
You feel it, right?
All right, let's raise it to 9.
Please don't do 9. Ow! Stop! We're done! We're done! We're done!
The Nassau Morning Madhouse. Weekday mornings from 7 to 9. On the voice of Nassau Community College.
90.3 WHPC.
Shake off the realities of the day, broaden your musical horizons, and embrace the diversity every Monday afternoon at 5 for 2 hours of Revelations. The show offers a potently unique collection of music with an emphasis on themes and rock rarities, an occasional tour de force of blues and soul, mixed with compelling sets of folk and folk rock. I'm Steve Kay, and I've got the perfect soundtrack for your drive home every Monday afternoon at 5 on Revelations, right here on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
It's Big Ed inviting you to join me Mondays from 10 till noon for the Good Gold Show. We've got the greatest hits of all time, all your faves of the 50s, 60s, and 70s, a whole lot of fun, and we'll keep you informed. Plus, we'll take your requests and your dedications.
Playing favorites.
So join me Mondays from 10 till noon for Good Gold on 90.3 WHPC, available on the Odyssey, iHeart, and WHPC apps.
Sometimes I wonder where I've been.
For you, my brother, though I played it on my show yesterday, and I dedicate to everyone who's trying, because it's a great song. Remembering Irene Cara, of course, who passed away this past weekend at the age of 63.
She had to be a New York girl, no?
I think she
Irene
was.
Cara?
I think she
She gotta
seemed
be.
like, seemed like it.
She's too cool not to be from anywhere else.
I would assume so, yeah. So, we're going to miss you, Coco. Going to miss you. 90.3 WHPC from the press box, part of the WHPC sports family. Sports, we're here every Monday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. You get sports talk 4 p.m. to 5 p.m., Monday through Friday, and then, of course, an additional sports talk every Tuesday from 11 to midnight.
Nice.
Let's talk World Cup soccer, brother.
Bro, I have a question for you.
What's up?
What's the weather looking like?
I don't know. I don't really want to talk about the weather right now. So,
All right.
we'll talk about the weather in a couple minutes. I
we'll
want
figure
to
out
talk
the
about the World Cup because there is a chance, brother.
Big match coming up, brother. Big.
There is a chance that USA, again, the USA men's team at least, will fail to do what it's supposed to do, and that's win.
That's not what the U.S. men are supposed to do, brother.
What are they supposed to do?
It's a real reach.
Well, they made at least they made the World Cup.
Yes. But when you say they're supposed to win.
I didn't say the whole cup. I said they're supposed to at least get out of the knockout round. It's called.
No, they got to get to the knockout.
Get out
We're
to-
in the group stage.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm
All right.
not no genius when it comes to this stuff. So anyway, we saw Timmy and I after last week. We went to a bar to watch Wales versus the United States.
Very loud.
Very loud bar, but at
loud.
the same time,
Sandwich pretty good though.
it was. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. My problem with the USA team, brother, is what's the Rob Leonard method for playing soccer? Since you and I have both played soccer growing up, sometimes you don't have to shoot the ball at the 6-yard line when you could shoot it at the 18-yard line. And what was happening with the USA team, they got a goal in the first half, which was good because that's the way you're supposed to do it.
Beautiful goal.
Beautiful goal. It was a pass, and he just sort of
Timothy Weah.
just sort of edged it in. It was a great goal.
Nice, very nice. Very nice pass, very nice touch to slide it past the goalkeeper.
But what happens in the second half? USA.
What did I say?
No,
10 or 15 minutes into the second half, brother.
I said the same thing, bro.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
But what did I say?
You said that they were playing for a tie.
Exactly. They were up 1-0.
Right.
And I said they're playing for a tie.
And I said the same thing.
And you can't. And this is why I said it. And this is why it was tragic. Because in the World Cup, you need wins.
Right.
You need 3 points. You cannot get out of a group unless you win a game. So here we are tomorrow
against Iran.
Against Iran to get to the round of 16, the knockout stage. Well, tomorrow is the knockout stage for the United States.
Yep.
Even though we're still in the group stage, because if they lose, they're out. The United States has to win.
Well, I know.
Iran, all they have to do is tie. So, imperative for the United States.
Right,
To
but going back
score an early goal.
going back to Monday's game, USA they were doing a lot of cross passes, hoping for a head ball in,
Too much.
and they kept missing the shooter, the striker in the front.
But those passes, I mean, first of all, somebody has to run onto them. It's not when you're sending crosses into the box. It's very rare.
I know
that you're on near the sideline and you're going to put the ball right on somebody's head. You need runners in the box, and we didn't have those. So I don't know why we kept on with that strategy, especially when the only goal that we scored came from going right up the middle of the field.
Right.
And in the second half, all it was, get the ball to the wings, send the cross into the box. Okay, nobody's there. Then here comes Wales going the other way. And it's like, why are we not attacking up the middle at all?
There were times when they had the ball at the 18-yard line where, it could have at least shot it. You can't score a goal if you don't shoot.
Anything, and that was Wales did the same thing. They were looking for the perfect chance, and Wales did that against Iran, which is why they didn't score at all. So here's what people need to know. First of all, if you're looking at tomorrow's game saying, "Oh well, it's Iran, they stink," well, no, you're wrong. Iran scored 2 goals against England. Yes, they lost 6-2, but they scored 2 goals.
Right.
We didn't score any goals against England.
Nope.
All right.
And that was the other game, 0-0. I know that some announcers were saying, "Well, look, the England scored nothing. That's good for us." No, it's not.
It is good. In
not.
some ways, it's good. To keep England from scoring is an achievement.
Yeah, but you got to score yourself to make it better.
Well, but in that game, nobody expected the Americans to win that game. So there are good ties and there's bad ties. Tying England was a good result. Tying Wales was not a good result because before the World Cup started, most people saw that game, that Wales-United States game, as, all right, if either team wins this game, they're going through. And we had the lead in that game.
Right.
So to not take those 3 points and to basically give 2 of them back that we had in our pocket, that is the killer. So now, again, we are in a must-win. If we had beaten Wales and then tied England, we'd have 4 points right now.
Right.
Iran would then have to beat us. That's where we would be.
Right.
And England, I'm trying to remember the results. England beat Iran, and England would have 4 points also.
Right.
So it would be a vastly different Tuesday that we'd be looking at than what we're looking at now, because the United States has to win. There's no 2 ways around it. Again, England draw good, Wales draw bad. And I tell you what, we could have beaten England too. Weston McKennie, all he has to do is get 1 shot on goal, and one of those 2 that he hit over are going in.
Yep.
Pulisic hit the crossbar with a left-footed shot. I mean, we didn't have as many shots as England, but we had better shots. So Matt Turner, the goalkeeper from Park Ridge, New Jersey, he made basically 1 good save, but that was pretty much England's only chance. So I'm looking at Iran tomorrow, and like I said, they scored 2 against England. They also scored 2 against Wales because they beat Wales 2-0. That's a team that can score goals.
Mm.
They've scored the second most goals. The United States has scored 1 goal in 2 games. Iran has scored 4 goals in 2 games. Don't sleep on this team. Don't say, "Oh, well, we're going to beat them because they're Iran." No. They're a good team. They got a lot of speed. They're going to give the United States defenders a lot of problems. You're not going to know any of their names, because I certainly don't know any of their names, but they can play. And this is no gimme. It's no automatic win. It's no, the United States is going to be celebrating at halftime. No. And that's what scares me. To me, if I'm Greg Berhalter, and I'd love to know what's going on in this guy's head. Why Gio Reyna is not playing, I couldn't even tell you. I have no clue.
No story about, anything?
I have not seen anything. Gio Reyna came on as a sub against Wales or against England. Played, I don't even know, like 15 minutes, which was a joke. He's got to start against Iran. Because the way that you slow a team down, and Iran definitely has superior speed to the United States. We have a good young team. There's good speed on that team. Iran is faster than us. So the way that you negate speed is to possess the ball more. And there is nobody on the American roster that does that better than Gio Reyna. He needs to be in the starting lineup. The other guy who I would consider starting, if I'm Greg Berhalter, is DeAndre Yedlin, who is still one of the fastest players we have. He's getting up there in years. He is speed to burn. The skill level isn't necessarily there, but I might start him ahead of Tim Ream. And I'll tell you right now, I think Tim Ream has been one of the 3 best players on the field for the United States.
Okay.
But Tim Ream is 35 years old, and you don't want guys running past him like he's a traffic cone.
Well,
he's not a fast guy.
I know that, brother, and this is where I've always said, unlimited substitution, so this guy can take a 15-minute break and then come back.
Reality. It's not reality, right?
It is reality.
It doesn't matter. He's slow. It
doesn't
matter.
matter.
15-minute break. He's slow.
He gets a break.
He's slow whether he has a break or not. Slow is slow.
Let me write a song about
rest
that.
Is not going to make him faster.
Rest always helps, brother.
No, it doesn't.
Anyway, so you thought that the U.S.-England game was actually an okay thing because
good result.
Okay, I was disappointed.
We are still, brother. We are still undefeated against England in World Cup competition. That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, doesn't help if you just.
They're England.
Yeah, so what?
They claim they invented the game.
Well, they might have.
No, they didn't. Brazil did.
Anyway, we should say Ronaldo because we interviewed Jonathan
Clegg,
yes. Who's co-author of Messi versus Ronaldo.
Right.
And Ronaldo got a penalty kick. So. And he has a record now, 5 goals in five straight World Cup.
He scored in 5 different
not
World
games.
Cup.
Well, 5
consecutive World Cup.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Good for him.
That's pretty good.
I don't care.
You don't think that's good? You don't think him playing is important?
It's one of those dubious records.
Well,
because he's
in 5 Stanley Cups, World Cups.
Was he good enough to play when he was like, I don't even know, 18 years old or 17 years old? Yes, he was. That's an achievement, certainly an accomplishment. I'm not gonna poo-poo that. But he's been the best player for Portugal for more than a decade. So yeah, he's going to play, and Portugal is going to be in the World Cup. So yeah, he's going to play, and he's going to play in every World Cup game.
Right.
And if Cristiano Ronaldo goes 3 games without scoring a goal, then chances are Portugal's going to lose 3 games.
Okay.
So they need him to score if they have any chance of advancing. So yeah, he's going to see the ball a lot.
Okay, I'm just saying, bro.
Good for him. It's an accomplishment. Whatever.
Well, and speaking of the book in the interview we did with Jonathan Clegg, Messi, there's big rumors floating around that, and they sound real to me, that after...
That's the crazy part, is you would think it would be Ronaldo in this position, but instead it's Messi. Go ahead.
It's Messi might be signing, and most likely he is, just from what we've read, with the Miami team in the MLS.
Inter Miami.
Yeah,
who owns that team, brother?
Beckham is part owner in that. Who in the commercial for Doritos with the great Peyton Manning said, "I own a soccer team," and then Peyton's like, "You said soccer."
This is proof. He's about to sign Messi.
So this is something that will be interesting when he does sign him. Is Miami the best place to bring a guy like Messi? And no, because when Pele came to the United States, he came to New York and he helped tremendously.
Messi wants warm weather. He doesn't. Nobody is coming to MLS to help grow the game.
Well,
MLS doesn't really need that kind of help.
Yes, they do.
They really don't.
They still need
it. I mean, it doesn't hurt, but that's not. That's when you're getting Lionel Messi at 35, 36 years old. I think he's probably going to be 36.
How old was Pele? He was 35 when he arrived.
Right,
34.
But you're making a comparison that no longer really exists.
Okay, well, if you say so.
I mean, MLS is an established league. Soccer is an established sport in this country. Is it still growing? Yes. Slowly, but yes. Does MLS want the game to be bigger in this country? Of course they do.
Yeah, well,
anything that helps their business model is good for them. But the fact of the matter is, MLS stadiums that are being built right now, they're pretty much capping the capacities at 25,000,
which I think is way too little.
No, well, but that's what they want.
I know that
they want the buildings to seem full.
They don't want a 77,000 seat stadium with 25,000 people.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, would I maybe build a 30,000 seat? I don't know. Maybe I would, but I wouldn't go any higher than that.
I would build it so you can build a second floor on it.
Well, a lot of the stadiums that they're building do have that capability.
Like the Buffalo Bisons up in the American Association.
Okay.
When they rebuilt their stadium a couple of years ago, or whatever, they thought that maybe they might get a major league franchise moving there. So they made it so they can build a second, a higher thing there. By the way, brother, Cameroon tied Serbia
today.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
And right now, in the 86th minute, Ghana, is beating South Korea 3-2.
No.
Yes.
Who scored for South Korea?
I don't know.
I hope my boy Sonny got a goal.
Sung. Gus Sung. No, what's his name? I can't read here.
Son? S-O-N?
S-U-N-G.
No, that's not him.
Okay. So.
Sonny.
Anyway.
My man's son.
So, anyway, but, it's...
Let's hope South Korea scores a goal.
Okay, well, I'm just saying. So, anyway, so the World Cup, it goes on. It goes on for another 3 weeks. Really,
big games coming, yeah.
So it's not. I'd like to see United States men's do a little better, because the women keep kicking butt, and it gets to the point where the women are more popular than the men, which isn't a bad thing at all. Which is actually good if it helps the NWSL. That's the main thing. So
if it helps soccer, it's good. Hey, the women are a credit to this country. They win trophies.
They constantly win.
They win trophies. They are the team.
Yep.
And we can blame a lot of that on Title IX.
Well, that's all on
Title
Title.
Back in the day.
Yeah. So it's a good thing, and it just has to help the league do better. The NWSL, because there's been enough leagues that have failed women's soccer for many reasons, and a lot of it has to do not with the players, but with the way it's run. There's a assumption that, okay, they did great in the World Cup, they're going to come out and watch us, and it doesn't always happen that way.
No.
So, anyway, let's quickly get to the Islanders. The Islanders have been playing well. They beat up on the Flyers on Saturday 5-2, which is not a bad thing.
More goals in the third period. Three goals in the third period for the Islanders. Brock Nelson and Anthony Beauvillier scored 22 seconds apart.
Right.
And the Islanders went from 2-2 to 5-2.
Right, and the Islanders are now in second place, 15-8. They are behind the New Jersey Devils, though, 18-4.
It's going to take a long time to get used to saying that again. The first place New Jersey Devils,
because especially after last year, they were horrible last year.
They've been horrible for a decade.
I know. So
it's not just last year; it's been a decade.
But the fact the Islanders are in second now, the Rangers are 10-8 and 4 OTL. I thought they were going to do a little better because
they should be doing better.
They should be doing better,
and that has led to the whispers, brother, about Gerard Gallant, the Rangers coach. They're saying that his job might not be so safe, but the name that they're mentioning as his potential replacement will not make Islanders fans happy because they're talking about Barry Trotz.
Ooh.
So my question would be, if Barry Trotz is being mentioned as a replacement for the Rangers,
then he didn't leave.
Why?
For family
why
reasons.
was he not? Why is he still not the Islanders coach?
Right.
So if Barry Trotz becomes the coach of the Rangers, then somebody lied.
Really? I hate to
no
say it,
doubt
brother.
about that.
Lou Lamoriello's not always been known for his straight-ahead telling of the truth.
Somebody lied. That's all I know. I'm not even going to say who, whether it was Lou or Barry, but it was one of them.
Yeah. So anyway, the Islanders are playing good. I always like to see the Islanders playing good, especially with the new arena. You want a lot of people to get over there. I still don't like the location of the arena. We have yet to be there, though, brother. And I know you hate when I bring this up.
Yeah, because you bring it up every week.
But, the reason I bring it up is because right now the Islanders are winning, so people will show up. When they start to lose, they're going to say, "Oh, well, I don't feel like going to the game."
Why do the Islanders have to lose?
No, because people don't show up to losing
You're being
teams.
doom and gloom. Why?
Well, I'm just
they
saying.
don't have to lose.
I'm not saying this year. I'm talking about a year or two from now or something. What I'm saying is that if you have problems parking in that area, which you might.
By then, all of that'll be fixed.
Well, maybe. Who knows? It's just still. I think it's still a bad location. I feel bad.
Thank
I'm
you.
glad
Can-
the
can
people
we
in
put a-
Elmont got their train station. now.
Can we put a moratorium on that comment?
No, because I know you hate it, and I
know.
love bringing it up.
That's why I really would rather you not.
Anyway, we should say Matthew Barzell leads the NHL with 23 assists in 23 games.
How about that?
But guess how many goals he has, brother?
2.
2. That's right.
Scored him in the same game too.
Yep.
The Islanders have won 4 in a row, brother.
Right.
So let's point that out. Besides the Flyers on Saturday, they beat the Maple Leafs. I know you like that result because you hate John Tavares.
I hope he's sleeping well.
In his pajamas.
Yeah.
But they beat the Maple Leafs 3-2. Then they beat the Oilers, the Edmonton Oilers, 3-0. Ilya Sorokin in that game made a career-high 49 saves.
Wow.
That's a working man shutout right there. That's a busy shutout. J.G. Pajot scored 2 goals in that game. And after that, there was a 3-2 victory over the Columbus Blue Jackets. So, Islanders playing well, getting some wins.
Yep.
Obviously, it all comes back to the defense. If they give up a couple of goals, they're winning games.
Yep.
And it's when they give up more than 3 that they have problems because this is not an offensive juggernaut per se. They can score some goals, but to say, all right, yeah, we're going to start winning games 5-4, that's not the way this team plays.
No, it's not that way. And, the Metropolitan Division is going to be a pretty tough division. Most of the teams are over 500.
Yeah.
And, I'm shocked that the Capitals are doing bad, but, I'm not sad.
I forget where I saw it, but I saw something over the weekend. It says the Capitals should bring back Barry Trotz.
Well.
It might be too late.
It might be too late.
They got some older players there.
Yeah. So, and the Knicks, brother. The Knicks are 9-11 at this moment, and
The Knicks are disappointing.
I don't know. I just expected a little bit more right now. I don't know why.
I didn't.
I did.
I said this, and I tried to.
I thought they were the number 7 seed in the
I tried
Eastern
to calm
Conference.
expectations before the season started because I didn't see this team going 500 or maybe a couple games below 500. But I certainly didn't see this as anything resembling a 50-win team or even a 45-win team. I tell you what, has Jalen Brunson exceeded my expectations? Yes, he has.
Yep.
But do you really want your point guard taking 20-something shots a game?
No.
That's not what the Knicks should have wanted from a point guard. And, Jalen Brunson shouldn't have to carry this offense. And to have him with R.J. Barrett and Julius Randle, it's a nice 3, but it's not. It's nothing that's going to move the needle.
Yep.
And yesterday, Ja Morant came into the Garden and put up a triple-double on them. That's a dynamic player. The Knicks don't have any dynamic players. They don't have really anybody that you look at the roster and say, yeah, I would pay to see that guy.
No.
It's not R.J. Barrett. It's not Julius Randle. It's not Jalen Brunson. You wouldn't pay to see any of those guys.
No, but the Nets do have some players you'd pay to see.
Well, they have at least one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's basically they have one guy, and that's Kevin Durant. And even Kevin Durant, he plays a steady game. He doesn't play a dynamic game, but he is relentless with his steadiness. Kevin Durant's going to hit jumper after jumper. He's going to run the floor. He's not necessarily going to do anything spectacular.
Nope.
But when you pick up the box score after the game, you're going to look at it and say, "Wow, Kevin Durant had a good game."
Yeah,
and he does that pretty much every time he plays.
And Kyrie Irving is playing again, and Ben Simmons is playing, so they seem to be getting along with each other a little bit.
Kind of, sort of.
So kind of, sort of. And Nick Claxton, that's Speedy Claxton's son, right? Is that no? No, oh, okay.
Well,
how many names have the last name Claxton?
The issue that I have with the Nets, and I wanted to talk about this. I know we don't have that
2
much
minutes,
time,
brother.
but the Nets, yes, they have Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and Ben Simmons. And Ben Simmons is he finally seems to be getting somewhat comfortable. But 2/5 of the starting lineup is Nick Claxton and somebody named Royce O'Neal.
Okay.
That's not getting you a title. You need. I'm not saying you got to have stars at every position. I'm not saying that you need to have, a top power forward and that you need to have a top center. You don't need to have Anthony Davis playing center for the Nets, but you need to have something better than Royce O'Neal or Nick Claxton. You need some elite rebounding. And guys who you're not afraid to throw a lob pass to, or somebody who can grab an offensive board and stick a putback, and maybe average 10 and 10 or something like that. And that's what concerns me about the Nets are 10 and 11, and
Right.
yeah, they started the season badly, and yeah, they fired their coach, and there's transition periods here with Jacques Vaughn as the new coach, but at the same time, I look at the Nets and I'm it's going to be a wait. It's going to be at least another month. I don't see the Nets really getting on any kind of a run until at least the new year, and it might take longer than that. In fact, it probably will take longer than that. So I'm giving the Nets December, but once January starts, this team really needs to start kicking it into gear and showing the public what kind of team they are.
Right.
Otherwise, we're just going to have another wasted season in Brooklyn.
I agree. Anyway, brother, that just about does it for our show. Here's the weather. Your WHPC weather forecast powered by Pantano's Gourmet in Hewlett, Uniondale, and Garden City Park. Today, we high about 51 degrees. Tonight, we drop down a little bit to about 35, 36 degrees. Tomorrow, we will
What about the
again.
rain? Will the rain stop?
It's going to be mostly cloudy most of the day, brother. It's going to be clear tomorrow. High about 46. You're listening to 90.3 WHPC. And currently at Nassau Community College, it is 42 degrees. Right here from the press box, my name is Rob Leonard. He is Tim Leonard. Thank you for listening. This show becomes a podcast later on. Coming up next at 10 o'clock, his name is Big Ed, and he plays oldies. So keep it tuned here to WHPC. Give him a call, 516-572-7440. And don't forget about High Fidelity. Every Sunday at 9 a.m., join Kim Tracy for a mix of music with a focus on newer music from less familiar artists. Playlists offered reflect the college radio charts. And also listen for old favorites, guilty pleasures, and kick-ass covers. That's High Fidelity every Sunday at 9 a.m. right here at 90.3 WHPC.
The views expressed on air are not necessarily those of WHPC, its management, or Nassau Community College. Responsible opposing viewpoints will be considered by emailing them to whpc@ncc.edu or by mail at WHPC 1 Education Drive, Garden City, New York 11530. Thanks for listening to the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.